Hey, how's it going everybody? It's your boy Slow here, and today we're going to be covering the very first part of the Ultimate Sonic Guide. Now, emphasis on Ultimate because we got a lot to go over in this guide. So I decided to release it in multiple parts just because otherwise it'd be very long. But don't worry, if you guys got any questions or you guys want to learn anything about this character, I'm pretty certain everything's going to be answered in this guide. So with that being said, let's get started. Sonic the Hedgehog. Who is he? What does he do? Well, he is the fastest character in the game and also known to be the fastest thing alive. Sonic the Hedgehog has the fastest run speed of the game at 3.85 units, which is actually the fastest by far. And yes, it is faster than Shulk, even when you use the Speedman auto. And as you can see here, he is way faster than Falcon. To go along with this speed, Sonic also boasts the third fastest initial dash. And what an initial dash is essentially, is that when you run, your character enters a run animation that makes them start at a certain speed. And everyone has a different varying speed. Sonic has the third fastest speed that he starts at before he enters his run state. So as you see here, that was my dash, which is this. And then once he starts his dash, he jumps forward a little bit, and then he starts running, as you see here. And when he starts running, he boasts the fastest run speed. The best thing about having the fastest run speed and the third best initial dash is that Sonic has the ability to be pretty much anywhere at any time that he needs to be there. That means that Sonic will always be able to be there when his opponent makes a mistake and go for a punish. The whole game plan that Sonic has and the way he takes advantage of these attributes is that Sonic is basically a bait and punish character. And essentially what his game plan is to always run outside of his opponent's bubble and always put himself in positions where he can wait for his opponent to make a single mistake or commit to a certain option and then run in for the punish and then pretty much run away afterwards. Here's an example of applying this to a match. So in this scenario, I'm running back and forth and trying to bait the Joker into doing an option that I can notice and then go for a punish. I'm seeing that he's jumping and I'm waiting for the jump to happen again. He jumps again over here, so I stop and then I go in for the punish with my fastest burst option, which is dash attack. Sonic's dash attack is a great option for punishing your opponent in reaction since it comes out very fast and it's attached to the fastest character in the game. You can utilize this by just running and feeling out your opponent for a bit, and once you see them go for an option or commit to something, you can just go in for the quick punish. One thing that you need to remember when you're playing as Sonic is that you're really fast. This is really good for a character because this is a character that can constantly create scenarios where the opponent is forced to guess just because of how unreactable you are. You're supposed to constantly put yourself in positions where you're around your opponent and you're forcing them to commit to an option because they cannot possibly understand what you're going to do next without guessing. Couple this with the fact that Sonic has a move that travels really fast, is invincible on startup, does a lot of damage, and is really hard to punish, and you got yourself a character that is amazing at conditioning opponents. What makes this even scarier for your opponent is that you're constantly capable of just mixing up the timing of your options, so you're still constantly forcing the opponent to guess to situations that are just quite unreactable. You're trying to constantly play a game of where you're just outside of their range and forcing them to whiff so you can go in for a punish. Here I'm showing off a couple examples where I'm just threatening my opponent with options and I'm mixing up the timing so he's forced to guess and commit to an option, and right when I feel like it, I can go in for the punish. Over here I'm just bouncing around, but as the Joker tries to cover my landing and punish me, I'm constantly changing my timing and trajectory to force the Joker to have to guess on how he's going to cover my options. You're practically playing a game of catch me if you can, where you're constantly forcing your opponent to guess where you're going to be and try to commit to an option, all while you're trying to go for a punish for his mistakes. Yes, I know, Sonic runs away a lot, we all know this. But the reason why Sonic does this in the first place is because of the fact that it's very hard for a lot of characters to deal with this option. So just like every other character in the game, Sonic has 5 aerials. He has an air, up air, back air, forward air, and lastly down air. Starting off with down air, the move has two hitboxes. It has the early hitbox which spikes and sends downward, and the late hitbox which sends upwards. There are some setups into the early hit of dares, such as spin charge down air, so you can utilize that to get some early kills. Sonic's down air has a little bit of lag when he lands on the ground fit. However, this lag is not existent when Sonic is high enough above the ground. This length is usually a full up B away from the ground. Because of this, Sonic can apply down air to his game plan if he wants to mix up his opponent when he's landing. Next, we're going to be talking about Sonic's up air. So as many of you know, this move is very infamous for its inability to connect into itself. Sonic's up air is a multi-hit move that starts with the first hit of up air and ends with the second hit. The problem with this move is that the first hit of up air has a very low knockback value, so it barely sends the opponent towards the second hit, and thus it's very easy for the second hit of up air to miss. It is very important to be aware of this because you have to be very precise with how you use this move. Otherwise, your opponent is going to fall out of your up air, and you're going to be the one that's sent upwards and put into disadvantage. The way you want to use this move is that when you're about to apply it on your opponent, they're already in position to get hit by the second hit of up air. With that being said, there are many setups into both hits of up air that anybody can master with enough practice. So make sure to hit training mode so you don't make small mistakes. The greatest attribute of Sonic's up air is that it auto cancels very early, which means it essentially has no lag. This makes it an amazing combo starter. You can take advantage of this attribute on stages with platforms to extend your combos with up air. If you land with up air before the second hitbox is active, you'll still land with a little bit of lag. However, the hitbox in up air 1 actually has a tremendous amount of hit stun. Because of this, if you can land the hitbox of up air 1 on an opponent, you'll be able to act before they do, as you can see in the visualization right here. This gives landing up air 1 actually a lot of combo potential, and here are some examples. So going back to what was said earlier, because Sonic's up air essentially has no lag when landing on the ground, this makes this move virtually unpunishable on shield. Sonic is capable of acting before his opponent can, as shown in an example right here. This gives Sonic a ton of options to choose from once he has landed with up air. In some cases, if you expect your opponent to jump out of shield with an aerial, you can choose to just run away, and he won't be able to catch you. You can't be using this option every time though. There are some characters without a shield options that are just fast enough to catch you, so be careful of this. Another option you can go for is grab, since your grab will always come out before theirs if you expect them to shield grab. If you don't expect your opponent to grab, you can always just go for shield, since no other out of shield option can punish that. And of course, there's a ton of other options you can go for. Just be creative. When your opponent is holding shield, it will only protect whatever part of the body it's covering, which means if there's a part of the body that's not covered by shield, you can hit them there, and they'll still take damage even though they're holding shield. If you notice that your opponent likes to hold shield a lot, there's a couple of shield poke setups that you can try going for after you land up there. Here are a few examples. There's a lot to go over when it comes to shield poking with Sonic, so I'll save that for another video. But for now, let's just go over some other things. Here's an example of me taking advantage of these up air attributes during an actual match. I'm noticing that this Richter main loves to up the outer shield every time I go near it. So I decided to take advantage of this, and once I land on the shield with up air, I immediately go for an F tilt that punishes up the outer shield. Once I've gone for that option, I decided to mix it up just so he doesn't go for an option that might punish that. Next, we're going to be covering Sonic's neutral air. Sonic's neutral air is a great move to land with because not only does it lead into a bunch of confirms, but it lingers for a very long time, as you can see here. There are three variations to this move. There is the strong hit, which is the initial hit. There is the weak hit, which is the later hit. And then there's the weaker hit, which is the later hit. At low percents, it's very effective to land a strong hit of Nair because it can lead into a grab combo, as shown right here. And at mid percents, the initial hit of Sonic's neutral air starts comboing into a lot of Sonic's full hop aerials. Be sure to take advantage of this and get some extra damage, or you can go for a kill with back air. You can also land a backer off the late hit of Nair. If you want to take it up a notch, if you get the latest hit of Nair, you can convert it into smash attacks. When landing on someone's shield with Sonic Snare, it's relatively safe against characters that don't have fast or good out of shield options. However, you should be aware of characters that do have really fast out of shield options, so it's always good to try to cross people up. Now to go over my favorite aerial, Sonic's back air. This move is big, it does the most amount of knockback and damage out of all of his other aerials, it lingers for a bit, it has low frames of animation so you can just spam it, and it auto cancels on short hop. At low percents, landing back air can actually confirm into certain moves, like F-tilt for example. You typically want to land this move around ledge so you can get yourself some early kills. However, you want to get the strong hit because if you end up getting the lingering hit or the late hit, it kills significantly later. Since the move comes out pretty slow, you usually just want to use this move to cover options, usually when people jump. And since the move deals a lot of damage, it makes for a great combo finisher, usually out of spin dash or spin charge. Now as far as safety goes, the move has a little bit of landing lag, so it's not too safe if you land it near your opponent. However, since the move boasts a lot of range, if you can space it around your opponent, it becomes very difficult for a lot of characters to punish it. And some can't even punish it at all. If you're spacing with backer around your opponent and your opponent doesn't have fast out of shield options with a lot of range, you usually just want to run away if you end up hitting their shield accidentally when you're landing with it. This way, they won't be able to catch you or punish you. And here's an example of a character that does have a lot of range out of shield, but it's not quite fast enough to catch the blue blur. The drawback to this move of course is the fact that it's still pretty slow, so if you're obvious with it, they can definitely anticipate it and go for a punish by just parrying it. That's why it's always good to mix up your timing and throw them off. Going back to what I mentioned earlier about Sonic's back air lingering. The lingering hit is a lot weaker, however this is really good still for intercepting recoveries that are linear and are vulnerable from the top, so take advantage of this. One attribute of Sonic's character is that a lot of his moves have really big hitboxes and are really good at covering options. This is more prominent in his F-tilt, his F-smash, and his back air. With these moves you can cover a ton of options that your opponent can possibly go for, and you usually want to do these in scenarios where you know your opponent's options are quite limited. For example here, F-smash is capable of covering 3 out of 4 options at ledge. My opponent can either neutral get up, get up attack, or roll get up. And F smash is capable of covering all 3 options. The only choice that I can't cover is jump. However, we have back air for that. The same can be done with Sonic's F tilt, and you'll want to generally use this option over his F smash more times than not because the move is much quicker to use and it's less committal. It doesn't kill as early though, however, it will eventually. Otherwise, it doesn't hurt to sometimes go for a little risk. You might get rewarded heavily for it. Sonic's neutral B is his homing attack, where he locks onto his opponent and then launches himself at him. Sonic can mix up the timing where he can launch himself immediately, or wait a little bit and then launch himself. The longer you wait, the more damage you'll deal, and knockback. You usually only want to use this move as a combo extender, or to push your advantage state. Here's an example of me pushing my advantage state using homing attack. One trick with homing attack is that you have the ability to reverse it in the air. What that means is you can jump and then immediately have it turn around before you launch. The way you do this is that you flick the analog stick in the opposite direction that you're facing, and then you press the B button. It's practically the opposite order of what you would have done for a traditional B reverse. What's useful about this is that when you hit someone with homing attack, you're launched far away from them, so you can't do any follow-ups. However, if you hit them with the reverse homing attack, you're sent near them, so you can go with a few follow-ups. Here's an example of comparing the two. When Sonic hits an opponent with homing attack, Sonic is capable of acting before the opponent can. This is why at low percents when Sonic hits an opponent with reverse homing attack, he can confirm into an upper because upper comes out really fast, and his opponent isn't launched too far, so upper is capable of reaching them. This is why it's always good to go for a reverse homing attack when you're trying to extend your combos. This is the best way to get the most out of your punish game. Next, let's cover Sonic Spring. Sonic Spring is a move that goes really far, and is in my opinion one of the best recoveries in the game. It's also very useful as an offensive tool, since it does have a hitbox. This is also technically Sonic's fastest aerial, since it comes out frame 4, while Sonic's other aerials come out frame 5 or slower. Since the hitbox lingers for so long, it's also amazing at 2 framing, so you can use this to intercept a lot of characters' recoveries. Sonic is also capable of throwing out aerials or using his air dodge after he's used his up B before landing. Because of this, Sonic's up B can also serve as a great triple jump, and you can use this to catch people recovering high, or you can use it to extend your combos. Sonic's up B has invincibility frames on startup, so you can use this to go through an opponent's hitbox, and even counter it with your own. Well, that's going to be it for the first part of the Sonic guide. I will be releasing the second part very shortly after this, and that will be going over Sonic's Spin Charge and Spin Dash. So that's going to get a whole video on its own because there's a lot to cover in regards to those moves, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this guide, and I hope you guys have learned a lot of things. With that being said, this will be You're Too Slow signing off. See you guys next time.